Right. Let's get straight into this. If you're already here, well done. I didn't tell anybody I was doing this, so well done for finding it. This is me talking. So you might already know me. You might already know me. You might not. You might have seen me from Game On Daily. I'm co-founder of Game On Daily. I do live shows there with Gaz on a regular basis. And every week people say, oh, you don't talk enough, AZ. You don't talk enough. So I thought, I'll come on here on my own channel where no one can stop me from talking. This looks so... Oh, do we have swearing on my own show? Do we? We have... Yeah. This looks so fucking cool. Good. I'm glad. So if you are watching live or after the fact on YouTube, welcome along. It is me. I'm going to be talking about games. I've got a few topics lined up and we'll see how it goes with people interrupting. If you are listening after the fact on Spotify or Apple or anything like that, I would like to report a crime, please, because I did not upload this to any of those services. Welcome to Fireside Chat. It is kind of, isn't it? I've got my Sea of Thieves background. The music that hopefully you can hear at just the right level is the OST from Hades today. Full potty mouth now. I'm a polite lad. Welcome along. Yeah, I've got the Hades OST. I figured every week I'll play an OST from a game that I like, and YouTube can have at it because I'm not really missing out too much if they strike my channel down. It's fine. And I figured for today's topics, that is a toilet emoji. That's not today's topics. I was distracted again. For today's topics, I will not be playing Klonoa. It's not a gameplay stream. It is a talk about things that are going on. And I figured I'd deliver a bit of a mood sandwich. So the music is good. Yeah, Hades has great music. I'll try and pick some other games that have good music too. They won't always fit as well as this intro does, but that's fine. So I'm going to go for a mood sandwich. I'm going to start off with some nice positive stuff. And I figured games that I'm playing. I like playing games, so that's inherently positive. So I'll talk a little bit about what I'm playing at the moment and what I think of it. I'm going to finish the show off with a talk about State of Play because I'm looking forward to that. It's got VR content in it, so I have to. It's part of my online persona. I love the VR stuff. So we're going to bookend it with positive stuff. And then in the middle, we're going to have the less positive stuff. Because I'm going to talk about some games that haven't shown up so well this week. I'm going to talk a little bit about Diablo Immortal and a little bit about Sonic Frontiers. The sandwich might get horribly disrupted if people that are here live start throwing up other topics, or I don't know. I mean, I might start talking about sandwiches now, but if people start throwing other things up, then we'll just see where it goes. Because this is episode 1 of a series that may or may not continue, may or may not get a name, and all the rest of it. So what have I been playing? And please, by all means, talk about the games as well. Tell me what you've been playing and everything else. But this week, besides my... Oh, Wayne's here as well. Good evening, Wayne. Good to see you. And you found my YouTube channel. That's good. I've obviously been playing Skyrim on the VR treadmill, and I play that one. That's a little bit specialist. So I stream that one, and you've seen that if you want to. If you haven't seen it, you can dig around on my YouTube channel and see all the fun there. But in my spare time away from all of that, in secret, I do play some pancake games as well. I've been playing a bit of Doom Eternal, which I'm playing on the PC. And Doom's great. Everyone that's played Doom loves Doom, right? You either know that you hate a game like Doom, so you don't go near it, or you fancy it and you give it a go, and it just plays so smooth and so slick, and it's fun. For me, Doom Eternal, despite being more polished in some ways than Doom 2016, doesn't quite grip me in the same way. I think Doom 2016 was more of a revolution. Let's bring up a little bit of Doom. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to find a trailer. Let's bring up a bit of Doom and see how that works. Doom Eternal. So I'm sitting quite uncomfortably with a keyboard on my lap. Doom Eternal's official trailer. Oh, I'm not 18. I am 18. I wish to proceed. Let's just bring that up. I'm going to be fumbling around with the buttons because this whole presentation is a little bit new. Let's bring it in there. And what I can do, possibly bring up some volume for it. Got a bit of Doom volume in the meantime. Hades can quiet down for a minute. You enjoyed the first one more as well. That's interesting, Chris. I've not heard many people agree because Doom Eternal, like, it layers on a few more mechanics, and there's a slightly different rhythm to the combat with the ways that you can execute your enemies. But oh, I can hear both things. That's fine. Let's just mute that Doom trailer. We don't need that. We'll keep the Hades music going. So yeah, it layers things on nicely, and it looks brilliant, and it performs incredibly well. I've got the ray tracing and 120 frames per second, and it's just slick and fun. But for some reason, it doesn't quite grip me like 2016 did, and it is most likely because 2016 was just more out of the blue. Didn't expect it at all. You didn't know it was on Game Pass? Oh yes. Oh yes. Can we make it in future so that the background zooms into the fire and the video appears in the flames? I'm not going to have the fire every week, but yeah, we can do anything. I did want to make the video a little bit more slick. I wanted to give it a little bit of framing, but I'm incompetent, so I just went, nah, we'll just slide it in for the time being. Slide in and have a little chat. Hailey, you should try it. I saw you playing classic ancient Doom. You might like this one just fine. But I've also been playing a less expected game, a game that I couldn't recommend to anyone. I've been playing Shining Resonance Refrain, which I don't even know if it must have been an Xbox One game, and it's a JRPG that wasn't particularly well rated, and I've put off playing it for years and years and years, but I had to because I like... Oh, everyone's agreeing with me about the Dooms being different, so it's just Gaz is wrong. We can all agree that Gaz is wrong. Shining Resonance Refrain, I might just bring this up instead. It's a JRPG that I play by virtue of its legacy, because the Shining series I absolutely loved when I was growing up. I played a lot of Shining Force 3 in particular, and those were big tactical RPGs that were great. Shining Resonance Refrain is, in true to form Sega fashion, utterly bastardizing an IP that I used to like. Finally, we're going to talk about Sonic in a bit as well. Yeah, that's how Sega do things. You picked up Doom 2016 Collector's Edition with the huge statue from game. What's the statue of? Is it Doom Guy, Doom Slayer, whatever he's called now? For 30 quid. Very nice. Yeah, so JRPGs, I like the genre. I loved the Shining series. I waited a long time to try this one. I will say that the Xbox Series X does a good job of tidying it up and making it look a bit sharper than it did. Let's see, where's my Xbox? This might look a bit funny, I didn't plan this. Oh, there's my Xbox. So, it's not a strategy RPG. I'm not playing it, it's not a game stream, but just so you can see, it's a real game on an Xbox, and you can see what the combat is like, because rather than being turn-based like your tactics games, your Fire Emblem and things like that, it's not. It's more like the Tales games. It's a little bit basic and a little bit simple. I'm just going to kill these goblins and then I'll turn this off. You play one character at a time in a slightly action RPG kind of sense, and you batter stuff. The setting and scenario, that's enough of the game. I'm going to turn it off now. The setting and scenario is okay for it. It's not based in a school, so if you happen to like JRPGs, and given that most of you are going to be Xbox people and probably don't care for them at all, but if you do like JRPGs at all like I do, exception is schools. It's such a common setting in JRPGs to be set in high schools, and I hate it. This game's not set in a high school, so it's got that going for it. I'm including, by the way, games like Persona, things like that everybody loves. If your game is set in a high school, yeah, gross. But yeah, so that's what I'm playing. I'm going through a little bit of for some reason I'm using the Xbox for my JRPG binge. Obviously there's more JRPGs, particularly on the Switch, but I still don't know if that works after I threw it over my shoulder. KY's just finished Guardians of the Galaxy. It's fun, but anyone else think it's like the Telltale version? Lots of walking, environmental puzzles and QTE. I'll get back to you on that in a second. I've not got far enough to say, but from what I've seen I agree with you. I'm trying to go through JRPGs. The Xbox obviously has a limited selection, which is kind of why I'm there, because then it might not take me my whole lifetime to get through the back catalogue. I did Astria Ascending. If you've got Game Pass, then again I wouldn't strongly recommend that, but it's not based in a school. Any JRPG that's not based in a school, good. That's a positive. Like, school romance in JRPGs is horribly uncomfortable. You can keep your personas. And I'm going to blast through Shining Resonance Refrain, and then I'm going to move on to probably Octopath Traveler or something like that. Guardians of the Galaxy is one that is on my backlog. I played chapter 1 of it, and it was absolutely fine until, so I was playing it on the PC, and it looked nice. It played. I'm not a big fan of the way that the combat plays out, but it's not terrible. And the characters are obviously well voiced. It's nice, it's funny, the story's like intriguing enough. But it got to end of chapter 1 cutscene, started stuttering, so I just figured I'd give it a patch or two and then I'd come back to it. So I will be playing that in the very near future. It's one that I kind of parked it to one side because I was streaming a lot at the time that I played it, and it's obviously got a lot of copyright music in it. And you can go into the options and you can turn off the stream safe music, or you can turn it on to stream safe music, but you can't play Guardians of the Galaxy without the music track. So I figured I'll wait and play it by myself, which I'm doing a bit more of now, so I will get through it. I've been told to try and consider the combat to be more like the Final Fantasy VII remake, and then it might click into place if you think of commanding the teammates in the same kind of way. So I'll give it a go. I'm looking forward to it. But that's enough about what I've been playing. But by all means, like, things that you're lots of stutter later. What are you playing on, KY? Your video output cut out 4 times. These sound like PC problems, but I didn't know you as a PC player. Didn't expect the stutter to be persistent across the consoles because they weren't massively ambitious in their performance profiles. I think you have to knock it down to 1080p for the little bit of ray tracing, don't you? And then it had a 30 frames and a 60 frames mode, if I remember correctly. But it is what it is. I'm still looking forward to playing it. Let's go on to the next topic. Let's talk about Diablo. Has anyone played Diablo Immortal? Has anyone touched it? It's it came out, it was due out I think yesterday. It actually came out the day before on Android and iOS, and it came out yesterday or today on the PC. And it looked okay, to be fair, for the Diablo series. It's a massive series and everyone's probably played some of it. Chris Jones, you can count on one hand the JRPGs that you've played. They aren't particularly your jam. You don't play a great deal of Japanese games, to be honest. See, I'm kind of the opposite, and it ties into Diablo a little bit as well, because that's obviously a really long-running series, and I really enjoyed Diablo 3, which I played on a few different things. I played on the PC when it came out, and it had a head start. It came out on the PC before the consoles. But then when it came out on the consoles, it was a lot better than the PC version, because for some reason Blizzard refused to put the control pad controls into the PC version. So unlike every other game on PC, it wasn't optional. They said you have to use a keyboard and mouse to play here. And then they ported it to the consoles and they never put the controls back the other way. So that game was far better on the consoles because it was just more fun with a controller. And I'm not like a controller snob. I'll usually take a keyboard and mouse. I'm playing Doom on the PC because keyboard and mouse all the way for that game. But Diablo not. Prior to Diablo 3 though, I had played, I can't even remember if it was Diablo 1 or 2, when they were new and I was a youngster. I played that and didn't get along with it at all because it was a lot of mouse clicking. Action RPGs on the PC in those days were click, 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 click to attack. And I way preferred Japanese games when I was growing up because for me they were just better. Over time, like, the industry kind of shifted and the West got a big leg up on like technical issues and performance of games. They looked better, they played better, they got a lot more ambitious, and their budget spiraled more so than they did in Japan. And Western games kind of overtook. But I still have a massive soft spot for Japanese games, which is why I'm going through playing these at the moment. Diablo is very much a Western RPG. It's an action RPG. And you've never played a Blizzard game. Oh, Chris, if you can get hold of Diablo 3, give it a bash. It's genuinely really good. Your gateway to gaming was a Sega Mega Drive. fair. That was mine as well. That was the first one that I owned for myself. But I guess you took a different path to me following the Western games on it. Problem with having nobody else talking is I don't get a good time for my drinks. I have to interrupt. ZX Spectrum. So I never had a Spectrum. I did have an Atari ST, like a family Atari ST that was in the parents' bedroom that I got to use very little. Definitely dive into Diablo 3 when it joins Game Pass. Yeah, the question is whether it joins before or after Diablo 4 comes out, and whether they screw Diablo 4 out completely or not. Let's talk about Diablo Immortal. I haven't played it and I don't intend to, because what I have seen is evil. And not in the way that Diablo is supposed to be evil, not like the namesake, oh, it's Diablo, it's supposed to be evil, don't be a fool. Let me see. Oh, it's a good trailer. Watch some gameplay. Gameplay-wise, it looked a lot like Diablo 3 for a mobile, and for a mobile game it didn't look bad at all, and I've got no kind of problem with the graphics. In fact, let's give it a little full screen. Woo! Weird bar along the top. It's fine. I've got no problem with the fact that it's a mobile game as such. I don't play mobile games, but this one looks okay and has a PC version, and I would have given it a go. What I've got a problem with is daily login incentives and things like that. The way this game is monetized is the worst of the worst, as far as I can tell. Not the worst of the worst. Mobile games they know no flaw. Their depravity knows no limits. But Diablo Immortal is a bad one. For me, as soon as any game offers daily login rewards or consecutive daily playing streaks, even things like Wordle, hell no, not for me. Leave my time alone. Diablo Immortal has that. And, I'll dig into that a little bit, why I hate it so much. It's like, it feels so sinister when a game demands that I log on every day. You've got a game here, and days, the concept of days, as far as I'm concerned, should only exist within the world that you're playing in. You can love Wordle all you want, but I don't have to. The concept of days, if somebody wants to say like, oh, I need to do something tomorrow, they damn well better be talking about an in-game tomorrow, and I need to see the passage of time or something like that. If they're talking about something that's my tomorrow in the real world, if they're breaking that fourth wall to try and get a rusty hook into me and pull me into their game against my will, no, keep your capitalism out of my face. I want to play games, and I hate it so much. Oh god, Kazzy's videos just started autoplaying. Can't watch it. Can't watch this without sound. Yeah, so anyway, for me, that's like, as soon as they tell me you need to do something on this day, you need to collect this reward, it's a beautiful incentive. No, breaks down that fourth wall with horrible corporate commercial tentacles to pull me in. Diablo Immortal has a lot of that, but it also has Forza Horizon 5 is like a full paid game, and just it's good, and I play it when I want to play it. That's what a game should deliver. It should be there and fun for when you want it, not the other way around. It shouldn't be making demands of you. So game on daily, but not because you incentivize me. Exactly right. And what if I want to play different games? Screw the horrible hooks. But it also has everything that you can buy like you'd expect. So the game is free, so to a degree you can understand that they're selling the currency for cosmetics. Stand up to Davos Elise. Yeah, exactly. Just let me have my games. But it has, so you can spend on currency to get all your cosmetics and things, but you also have, every time that you do any of this admittedly free content, so you go through a dungeon with some people online and you beat the boss, and then it pops up with like a treasure chest that says this is your one chance to open this treasure chest. It costs like 99 cents or something. Well done for finishing the dungeon, give us some money if you want like the prizes. That's awful. Why are games like that? How can they be like that? Let me find some gameplay. Got Colt being Doctor Strange. Still playing Diablo Immortal. Gameplay. Someone's got to be showing the game. We're going to put this rando fella up just for a little bit so we can see what it looks like. Because I can do that because it's just a random. See, the game looks alright. Not a big fan of the screen ratio being what it is there. Not a big fan of the fact that this guy's not actually moving and playing the game for me. But it looks alright. I could play that. Who is he? I don't know. He's the first video that came up. He's called Reforged Gaming or something. He doesn't need me to promote him. Like, he's way bigger than I am, so if ever I use anyone's content and they're small, then I'll make sure I'm saying who they are. But I'm the small one here. I'm tiny. I'm only like 6'4". Sounds like Oprah when she gave everyone cars but then meant to pay for certain aspects of it. Yeah. Oh look, he's moving, he's doing it. He's slashing the sword. That looks a bit crap actually. There's like not much of an animation goes into that sword swing. But besides that, the environments look pretty reasonable as mobile games taken over to PC go. I wish I could play that. So it leaves me cautiously optimistic. Oh, can I skip this video forwards? Is there more? Does it get into an actual fight? Here we go. And for some reason the Hades soundtrack also skipped into a little heavier moment for the boss fight. Don't know how it knew. You are the mod who knocks. Oh, is that the correct channel, Ola? Did you find it? Well, there we go. Credit given. You're the best, like, mod person there could ever be. Don't forget to credit Hades as well, because I've got the OST playing still. And what else do we need to credit? Sea of Thieves is behind me. And all the rest of it. And Game On Daily. Let's do some links to Game On Daily. That's a good website. Bring that up for a minute. There's Game On Daily. Yay! In fact, I don't like that view of it. Where's me? Where's my page? It's fine. We'll come on to Sonic in a minute. So, yeah, that's Diablo. And I mean, are any of you playing it? Would any of you have played it if it didn't have these shitty like monetization practices? And are you playing Diablo 4? I want to find Diablo 4. I loved Diablo 3. I really did. Like, I played it despite not particularly liking keyboard and mouse over controller. I played a Witch Doctor right the way through to the end of Diablo 3 on the PC, and I played multiple characters through to the end on the Xbox. And I would happily play it again. If other people are going to get in on some Diablo, I will jump in and make a new character and play it again because it's a good game. Let's find Diablo 4. 4. And I am still looking forward to Diablo 4, but why is all this crap at the top? Give me proper full screen, stupid YouTube. Don't know what that is, that bar at the top. I'll figure it out for next time. But yeah, Diablo 4 is a game that I will be thoroughly looking forward to. And now I'm scared because Blizzard have bad form for monetization. World of Warcraft used to be that you had to buy it and you had to subscribe, and that was like wild to some people. There were a lot of people who would say, I'm never subscribing to a game, like I'll buy a game and that's my limit. World of Warcraft managed to persuade a lot of people to subscribe and a lot of people to buy the expansions, but weirdly it wasn't enough. So they introduced a cash shop, and then they started selling gold, like the in-game currency, as well as charging for the game and the subscription and the expansions. And it's a shame because Blizzard are like a studio that earned a lot of love and then pissed it down the drain. So we shall see on Diablo 4. I want it to be good and I want it to be fair, and obviously it's going to be released under like Microsoft's stewardship, as it were. And it's hard to imagine that conversation where Phil Spencer walks in and talks to Blizzard and they say, look, we've got these plans to monetize this game, and he says, well, it's going to be on Game Pass now. How does that conversation then go into, like, don't be dickheads with the way you monetize the rest of it? I really hope that that's how the conversation plays out. and they make a game that's wholesome and doesn't tell me I have to play it every day whether I want to or not, and doesn't charge me for quest rewards, and doesn't have a real money auction house, and all of the other things that they've got themselves into. That's enough of Diablo. I don't know how long I'm going to talk for, by the way. I would think, given my number of topics, we're probably looking at maybe an hour. That's a reasonable start. Think about Eve. So Wayne is saying, think about Eve. Originally you had to pay for it, then a monthly sub, then it makes you skill in real life time. To get the big ships, you have to sub for at least a year or two. So Eve is a weird one. They kind of pioneered the being able to buy and sell subscription time within the game. The whole play to earn thing. I've never played it. It's too long for me. Talk forever. This is your favourite show. I've talked for long enough that this coffee is pretty cold. I'm annoyed that YouTube has this weird banner along the top. I'm going to click some stuff. Oh, come on. What is that? Cinema mode. Don't get it. It's got... Oh, my green screen's going wrong. It's got this bar along the top that has crap on it. Like search history, recently uploaded, watched live. That's not normally there. Never mind. I have a barnacle on my ceiling. Now, what would it be in the pirate background? I was going to put like a fake projector up there and then project the screens into the room. But I ran out of time. He quit the game with worth over 2 trill money. So did it have a way that you could cash that money out into the real world? Besides, I know you could use the in-game currency to top up your subscription, and you could sell that subscription as contracts to other players, right? That's my understanding of what Eve was doing, and something that Warcraft copied as well. Something to look forward to for next time, maybe. I'm not very artistic, so I struggled with it. Oh, you can do that illegally, so it's not part of the game that you can cash out, but people found their ways. Yeah, fair enough. Let's talk about Sonic Frontiers. About 6k. Did you sell yours, Wayne? Did you turn it into money? Sonic. You're getting ahead of yourself. Oh, this thing is going to annoy me again. Let me open you. See what it does from here. Right. Sonic. Let's have a look at some of the official stuff. So, your criteria for a good Sonic game is if it has a Chow garden. I don't think they've confirmed that on this one. I've not actually watched all of this IGN stuff. The stuff that I have seen, I've only glanced and it looked horrible. So when they first showed the teaser trailer, and this was in the teaser trailer, what's up right now. When they first showed this, whenever it was, I immediately looked at the color palette and thought, what? Why does it look like that? Why are the colors so muted? It's a Sonic game. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't look it. This is, so what's on screen now? Let's put it properly on screen. Nope, button didn't work. There we go. Sonic Frontiers. Is that the whole thing? Have I run out of trailer just as I put it there? Screw you, Sega. It's not their fault. That's my fault. Revenge of Sonic 06. So, yeah. Think. I stand by the colours being horribly muted. Because they are. YouTube. It doesn't, like, so I started Sonic with, Sonic 2 was my first one, and it was pretty much the first game I ever played. So when I haven't got my green screen, you probably know I've got the posters there. I've got Sonic 2 and I've got Skyrim. And I have Sonic 2 because it's my first real game that got me into having to play games every day for the rest of my life. And Skyrim is the game that I'll probably still be playing when I die. I'm going to die in Skyrim VR one day. Not soon, hopefully, but it seems inevitable. And I liked Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast, probably Sonic Adventure 2. Revenge of Sonic 06, Loop It. Wait, you see many compare it to Breath of the Wild, but you think that game was particularly good, so it doesn't help. Yeah, it doesn't look like Breath of the Wild to me from what I've seen. I'm getting this damn trailer. Here it is. World premiere gameplay first from IGN. That's not colourful. That's crap. And someone already said. Who said about the pop-up? Chris said. Christopher Jones mentioned. So in game, yeah, masses and masses of pop-up extra like everywhere, and that's kind of a technical thing that I'd say. Hopefully they can tune and tweak and like make it look a little bit less crap in terms of things popping into view every time Sonic moves. Although it is a fast game, so I can see the challenges there, and it might well be that it comes out still looking bad. But it is technical rather than design. The color palette isn't technical. It's like, why is Sonic on a planet that has more drab colors than the one we live on? That's not where Sonic comes from. It comes from vibrant Sonic 2 planet. I can't even remember what his planet's called. It begins with M. Other Sonic fans probably know. Wouldn't really call myself one of those. And it's not that the gameplay looks inherently terrible. So if you go back and play Sonic Adventure now, which I did relatively recently, I played a little bit of Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure is like a hard play now. The camera controls are terrible. And various other elements of the gameplay just don't hold up very well. But design-wise, it was kind of nice. Mobius, yeah. That's the name of his planet. And whether this one's supposed to be set there or somewhere else, it's clearly not Earth. Like, the architecture's abstract. It's not the planet I live on. But it's not Sonic's planet either. He's gone to Doll World, and I don't know why. But once he gets moving around and the pop-up starts coming in, it looks like they've refined the 3D gameplay enough that it's less clumsy and cumbersome than it was in Sonic Adventure. But I don't want to play it from what they've shown me. That's a shame. And yeah, it doesn't help. I mean, I've said many times I don't like platform games particularly. I like Ratchet & Clank. I wouldn't really call Ratchet & Clank a platform game because it's got so much emphasis on its guns and combat movement. Sonic Frontiers. I don't know. The reason that it's concerning is that Sega are supposed to be going through a little something at the moment with their Project Supermassive game updates, where they're investing heavily in their old IPs to make these super games, they say. And there's lots of talk that they're going to be focusing on making them live service games and things like that, which are always concerning. But then you see this. What's the other thing that Sega did recently? They did something horrible. Oh, Sonic. The other Sonic project they've got. Their 2D one. What's the 2D Sonic called? The world looks like Final Fantasy 13. Yeah, Final Fantasy 13, once it opens up. Hang about. Just 10 minutes ago, you told me you don't play Japanese RPGs, but you played Final Fantasy 13 not just a little bit, but enough to get to where the world opens up and looks this colour, which is the end of the game. Final Fantasy 13, oddly enough, is one of the games that I want to play again. I want to go back to that. It's got to be better than 15 was. And I never did play the second two parts of it. So 13-2 and Lightning Returns, whatever they're called. I quite fancy giving those a go. And they're on Game Pass, so I'll get to them. Exactly, KY. Absolutely busted. He loves the JRPGs, just not the good ones. You lived with someone in uni who bought 13 when it came out and kept complaining about how crap it was when he was playing it. I reckon... So, weird tangent. Final Fantasy 13 wasn't like particularly well received when it came out. There was a lot of criticism at the time for how linear it was. Linear it was. Relative to 12 and previous Final Fantasy games. And at the time, that was like, oh, why is it all linear? I want to explore the world. And you couldn't until right near the end. I think if I go back to Final Fantasy 13 now, I'd probably appreciate that a lot more. Now that everything else is open world, and now that Final Fantasy 15 has been a thing. Origins. So the one that's on screen at the moment is Frontiers, and Origins is the remake of previous Sonics. Oh look, he's drawing little circles like in Nights into Dreams. That doesn't make any sense. Stop it, Sonic, you're not Knights. Making me so angry. What's this bullshit going on right now? Sonic doing non-Sonic things in his dull, bland world. At least he's quite fast. Not like that pudgy Mario bastard. Should have looked on GameOnDaily.com instead of Googling it. Yeah, I don't think I've set up Sonic Origins. Or maybe I did. But Sonic Origins has this this horrible monetization. So that's a theme running through from Diablo Immortal to Sonic. Sonic Frontiers, I wasn't going to talk about its monetization, but the way that Sega treat their IPs in general, Sonic Frontiers got a lot of stick for selling things like animations for the title screen menu. So you buy the game and then they lock all kinds of nonsense behind a paywall that's just like unforgivably sinister. And it doesn't bode well for Sega. So I loved lots of Sega games and consoles. Like when I say that I grew up playing Japanese ones, they were mostly on Sega consoles. I got a hold of other ones when I could. But a lot of my child years, from Mega Drive to Saturn to Dreamcast, Sega made some great stuff. And then they went, obviously, third-party software only, got rid of their consoles. But they also seemed to get rid of all of their heart and soul and talent. And they released so many games that were from like IPs that I loved that they just decimated. It just made them horrible. Oh, look at Sonic trying to do his lame puzzles. I don't know if Zelda Breath of the Wild has lame puzzles like that, but I'm so unimpressed by this trailer. And yeah, that's the way that Sega are handling Sonic. And obviously the films are like really popular, so there's this hope like maybe they still respect their own IP a little bit. But Jet Set Radio, Jet Grind Radio, whatever you want to call it, Crazy Taxi, all of those, I've not got high hopes for them. Not got high hopes for how they're monetized or how they play. But we'll see. Your favourite game on the Sega as a kid was Booger Man. That's not even a real game. Booger Man. Let's find out. Is that a real name of a game? Was that a Mega Drive / Genesis game? We're going to find out. Booger Man game. Oh, it's got gameplay right up in the search. You are not lying. This is the Nintendo version. Oh, this one doesn't have the stupid bar along the top. It does have my green screen. Booger Man, a pick and flick adventure. Now that I see it, I have played this. I didn't have it. But it's familiar. Oh, who's taken away my childhood? Why can't I remember this properly? Hasn't Sega moved away from any new IP, even closing all of their shops? So Sega have definitely moved away from non-gaming parts of their business. They've spun off all of their like arcades and gambling centers and things, which isn't necessarily the same as getting rid of new IP. I mean, if you are Sega and you're sitting on a buttload of IP, it makes sense to try and make things from it. And they've got some sort of partnership with Microsoft's Azure servers to repress the memory. Why would I? Look how good it looks. And look at my mug. Do you like it? Yeah, it's themed for where I'm sitting. No. Are you wowing my tankard or Booger Man? Oh, my tankard. Today is some kind of cider, I think. I didn't really pay attention. So yeah, Sega anyway. Sega. So they've moved obviously away from hardware like decades ago. They've recently got rid of, I say recently, it's within the last year or so, they've got rid of all of their non-gaming functions, which some would speculate meant they were trying to get acquired by one of these hungry acquiring companies. But they are still forging on with Project Mega Super Game, whatever it's called. Plan to make best game in the world. And I have no faith that they can do it. And it's like, it's extra painful because I would love them to do something good with Phantasy Star Online or something like that. One of the games that I love playing. And no, oh, I don't like the Hades music right now. It'll change soon. Mysterious booze that's slightly hard to drink from the tankard because I overfilled it. Not bad. Let's talk about state of play. That should be like the biggest topic, really. PlayStation stuff, virtual reality stuff. What are we expecting to see? They've said it's not a first-party event, it's third-party partnership stuff. And a bit of a VR showcase, which obviously I like the VR showcase. Overfilled is surely the correct level of filled for a tankard. You're absolutely right, which is why I did it. But I have a keyboard on my lap and I don't want to spill drink on it. So, apart from that, that's enough, Booger Man. That's enough, Booger Man. Sorry, Chris. I'm glad you haven't. Starfield VR is going to be announced as a PlayStation VR2 exclusive. Wouldn't that be something? It's for me, the one like devastating element of Microsoft acquiring studios. Microsoft are beyond lazy when it comes to VR. I know that VR is not popular, it's my thing, and I don't expect like a lot of people care that Microsoft aren't supporting it. But they come out on stage and say, yeah, we're not putting it on Xbox right now. We're going to see how it goes in the PC side of things, which is fair enough. But then they take it away from the PC. They buy Bethesda. Bethesda like made VR games. They buy InXile. InXile made VR games. They buy Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory made VR games. And these studios go to Microsoft and it's just like, oh, guess I'm not getting any more from them. Good thing Skyrim's going to last me forever. And then you hear about things like Avowed and Starfield, and you just know I'm never going to get to put my headset on and explore those worlds because Phil Spencer doesn't like it. He gets motion sick. So that's sad for me. You really want to try a VR system? Yeah, I mean, it's fun. Like I love the VR stuff, but I also fully understand that it's not mainstream. I don't need it to be mainstream, but I understand that it's not fitting into like Microsoft plans, and I understand a lot of people don't want to strap VR headsets to their face, and it's got issues with wires and motion sickness and things like that. So it's not for everyone, but at the same time, it is so clearly a part of the future that it's a shame to see Microsoft actively hold it back. Like, if they are not wanting to put it on Xbox, but they want to see like how the technology unfolds and see where it goes, okay, put Forza Horizon on it, put Forza Motorsport on it. They're like made for it. It's such a small step. Like, just put your games on it. You want to see if people like it or not? Put something on it, please. Something, anything. Just put something on it. You can get Flight Sim VR, but that's because Asobo, the partnered developer for it, insisted. Nothing to do with Microsoft as such. They kind of didn't resist too hard, but they didn't encourage or endorse it either. So Flight Sim, you can do in VR, but nothing else. Would the Xbox Series X honestly be powerful enough to run good VR? Hell yes. Yes, it would. The Wi-Fi 6 thing, that's a thing. You tried Google Cardboard, so that's a problem with VR. Chris, I'll come back to that in a second. A lot of people tried, and I'd include PlayStation, the first generation PlayStation VR in this as well. A lot of people tried VR that was not too good, like the drawbacks. They were kind of amazing technology in their own right, but the drawbacks were severe. not being able to turn around in PlayStation VR is like, it's massive. It makes such a difference being able to wander. And then you get things like Google Cardboard that don't even track forwards and backwards properly. Like, they're horrid by comparison to what's available on the market now. The Series X would definitely be powerful enough to run good VR. The Wi-Fi 6 thing is a good point. Like, it suggests to me that Microsoft aren't particularly planning to do anything within this particular console lifespan, as it were. The PlayStation 5 has Wi-Fi 6, and yet they're, so far at least, they've not announced any wireless capability for that headset. I do still expect an add-on for it to allow it. The Oculus Quest that I do VR on also doesn't support Wi-Fi 6, and it does wireless VR brilliantly. And no word of a lie, like, it's phenomenal. And that's without any kind of eye tracking or any of the fancy new technologies that you got in the PlayStation VR 2. Christopher Jones, I would love to believe that Microsoft are buying those studios with a view to using their VR talents. Just like when Sony bought Insomniac, I'm sure they're using their VR teams to make some VR games. Insomniac make a lot of VR stuff. But no, I don't think we'll be seeing Hellblade 2 in VR. Hellblade 1 you can play in VR. You have a PSVR, you've got quite a few games for it. Eve, Valkyrie, Batman, Resident Evil, Astrobot, VR Worlds, Gunjack, Robinson, Farpoint, and a few others. Yeah, so when PSVR came out, they did a reasonable push to get some content on it, and that's one of the like positives for PlayStation VR 2. And we should see today, I think it's in just over an hour, the State of Play show. We should see some games, and VR needs that right now. It needs the backing of a company like Sony to say, like, let's get some content for this thing, because in the PC space, much as like, and this is a whole nother conversation, the difference between the closed platforms of like console ecosystems versus the open platform of PC and the relatively open platform that is VR at the moment. Sometimes you need a vested interest of the likes of Sony or Facebook even to say, right, we're pushing this, we need to get content funded even if it's not going to sell. And VR hasn't really had that very much since PlayStation VR came out, and since Oculus moved their focus away from full-fledged like PC VR and into Quest VR. So you do get quite a lot of Quest 2 and Quest 2 content, but it's pared so far back from what you can do with PC or a console. So yeah, I'm very hopeful that changes today, because a bunch of the games that we see at this showcase that Sony are doing are going to come to PC as well, for sure. Obviously not Sony's first party ones necessarily. That's a silly thing to say. Of course Sony's first party games can go to PC. That's what's happening these days, but I'm sure they'll be using them initially to try and push their own headsets. So what we're going to see at State of Play, for you it all comes down to the price. You're older now with a house to run. You gladly dropped £450 each on a PlayStation 5 and a Series X. You have to give it a lot of thought for a VR product. It'll be a little under that price, I would think, but yeah, still a fair investment. But it is the best way you can game. There's nothing quite like getting into those worlds. And the PlayStation VR 2 headset does look like it's going to be so good. I'm curious how they're going to showcase it, because it won't be as vomiting inducing as version 1. It won't be. The fact that you can turn and move is an immediate improvement on vomit. So for me, I get real travel sick, and VR was a problem for me. The thing that triggers it most is turning with a stick, and you had to do that on the PlayStation VR 1 because it didn't support turning around. So immediate massive improvement on motion sickness just by being able to actually turn around physically. Final Fantasy is a thing that I like. So State of Play 2 could have Final Fantasy 16, and Final Fantasy is a thing that I liked. We could even see, in fact, I think they've already pretty much hinted at when the second part of Final Fantasy 7 Remake comes out, so I'm not expecting that today. But Final Fantasy 16 we could do. The issue with Final Fantasy 16 is that Final Fantasy 15 was terrible. terrible. It had some good music and stuff, but it was like Square Enix attempting to mimic the Ubisoft format in a Final Fantasy game. And it was horrid. Yeah, that's why it was bad. So it was the opposite direction of Final Fantasy 13. So 13 got lambasted for being too narrow, linear in the direction of the story and where you could go. 15 tried to do the opposite. It went open world with boring objectives everywhere. And like unlovable characters. So 16, I'd like it to be good. I'm sure it will have, like, it's a JRPG that will have production value. It will have, again, wonderful music, hopefully, because that's like staple Final Fantasy. They put a lot of effort into that stuff. But it might be bad like Final Fantasy 15 was. The initial trailers that they showed. Let's find a... I've still got Boogerman playing at the moment. How long is that video? That's an hour and 15 minutes of Boogerman on whatever system that is. Final Fantasy... I consider it very fortunate that Final Fantasy VII Remake was really good. I don't think Square Enix are capable of like directing a team to make a good game. I think they lucked out making that game so good, and that is good. Let's have a little look at 16. Did anyone else find Final Fantasy VII grindy? Do you mean the remake or the original? The original, I was a wizard at. I was like secondary school age, and I was staying up till 4 in the morning to play it. So it probably was a little bit grindy, but I killed that ruby weapon with like a level 50 something team. I was amazing. So I didn't need to grind that hard. I didn't find the remake particularly grindy. It had a couple of weird difficulty spikes in it, but it wasn't overly grindy. "17 hours in and you got bored." Oh, that's sad. I liked the remake a lot. Did you come from the original? Did you play the first Final Fantasy VII and go through reliving it? I'm not optimistic about this 16. It's hard to tell from this trailer whether it's like, it's not got as cringy an aesthetic. Oh no, that character looks like a Final Fantasy 15 character. Not sure that this will turn out well. It's weird because Final Fantasy as a series goes from this kind of look and Final Fantasy 15 kind of look to Final Fantasy 9 and Final Fantasy 14 that are really like overly campy and annoying. It's very rare that they actually strike the balance of an aesthetic that's like satisfying. I like that guy's armor, but we'll see. We'll see. You were a newcomer to Final Fantasy VII, so Final Fantasy VII's remake handled its part really well. Some people hate the fact that it's deviating from the original, and it's got an in-story, like an in-universe explanation for why it's deviating and how. I actually thought it was really well done. I liked it a lot. I liked Final Fantasy VII a lot, and I like the remake a lot. But besides that, Final Fantasy is like on thin ice with me. I'm not sure. Not sure 16 is... I'm inevitably like... I'm almost certainly going to play it, but I don't have high hopes that I'm going to enjoy it. It's kind of like Forspoken in that sense. You wanted to kill Aerith? Yeah, she's a bit annoying. And now we don't know if she's going to die or not. Christopher Jones, that is exactly it for 15 as well. So Devil May Cry did the same thing. It's not Devil May Cry, it's the DMC aesthetic. So when Ninja Theory took Devil May Cry to westernize it, and they made that version of Devil May Cry that nobody liked because it didn't quite hit right. Final Fantasy 15 and 16, from the looks of things, sit in that, like, no, decide Decide your influence. Don't do this horrible like blend between East and West. It doesn't work and nobody likes it. But yes, I'm glad you mentioned Devil May Cry, because that's exactly where it kind of sits. DMC. I like DMC, by the way. That was quite a good game, but the characters were cringy like a Final Fantasy 15, 16. He wants to kill Chaos too. Yes. Yes, you are on fire with the examples. Who was it that made that? It was Team Ninja, wasn't it, that made that for them? But yeah, exactly the same, like, cringy aesthetic. So, it is what it is. What else is at State of Play? Strong rumours of Street Fighter 6. Who likes a fighting game? I liked Street Fighter 2. Back on the old Mega Drive with the 6-button controller or a fight stick. I never really had fight sticks. In fact, I'm a weirdo. I play fighting games with an analog stick quite happily. For years and years, like console generation after console generation. You can't use an Xbox 360 control pad for a fighting game. It's got a horrible D-pad. I was happy using my analog stick. What's wrong with your thumbs? It's fine. Precise input. I don't need precise input to Hadouken everything. But oh yeah, Chris is my opposite. NetherRealm make terrible games. You can tell him I said so if you want. I've never enjoyed anything in Mortal Kombat. 10 and 11, like, nice facial animations, I suppose, but besides that, so childish. Yes, Siler, it's a fighting game. You're absolutely right. That's what you do. You fight and you fight and you fight. I liked Street Fighter 2. I played 3 and played a bit of 4. And like, obviously that doesn't encompass the Street Fighter series, because there were many versions of 2 and many versions of 3 and different editions. I never really took the time to get a handle of the mechanics that they layered on top of it from there, like after 2. 2 was fine. All I needed was to jump fireballs and do hurricane kicks. And dragon punches. Anything on top of that with their countering and meters and all the rest of it. Yeah. I'm just going to carry on playing it the way that I always have. And 4 kind of allowed you to do that. 5, with its PlayStation PC exclusivity, had some weird mechanics I didn't really get on with. I'm quite looking forward to Street Fighter 6, because fighting games are supposed to look great. Last generation kind of skipped that. None of the fighting games were particularly pretty. But I always liked more fluid ones. So I liked Street Fighter 2 for its simplicity, and I liked things like Virtua Fighter and Dead or Alive for the speed and fluidity of combat. Soul Calibur always had the same kind of pacing and impact as Street Fighter as well, but Tekken didn't for me. DMC never appealed, thankfully. You only tried Final Fantasy VII because of the hype. DMC, the characters are like vomit, but the combat was pretty good. And graphically it was pretty good. It's a Ninja Theory game. Yes, leave 16 playing for a bit. Don't know why. Gameplay wise, I actually found DMC better than Devil May Cry 5, because Devil May Cry 5 had like a weird control scheme that I didn't get along with. You don't watch any anime to have played any of the anime inspired fighters, of which there seem to be buttloads. Yeah, Arc System Works make a lot. I got one of those on the PlayStation the other day, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus or something, because it was like £8. I've never played it and I thought I'd give it a go. That's definitely an anime fighting game. And I played the Dragon Ball Fighters game a little bit. Again, never enough to really learn the mechanics. Just to button mash through them a bit. But Street Fighter 6, because I've still got that slight grounding in Street Fighter 2, hopefully I'll understand what's happening and I might play it a bit. Hopefully. Also, I've seen some little rumours around that we might be seeing the next gen version of Red Dead Redemption 2. I haven't played much of Red Dead Redemption, so I would very much like to see the next gen version, but I will be a little bit upset if they delay the PC version, like they did on the original launch. And it sounds like that's going to be the plan. So obviously Red Dead Redemption 2 on the One X was already really good looking, and all we really needed Rockstar and Take-Two to do was say, yeah, Microsoft, you can double the frame rate for us. But they said no. They said, don't do that, because we're going to re-release it at some point. And that time could be coming soon. What else? I don't really know what else is coming. Oh, the Final Fantasy 15's appeared. Let's bring that up in the background while we talk. I like the glowy stuff. That's not the problem that I have with the Final Fantasy aesthetic these days. Stuff can glow and I'll be happy. Your wife who hates gaming loves to watch you play Red Dead Redemption 2. So, yeah, not God of War, Riley, you're right. No Sony stuff, supposedly. I played... I still want to play Red Dead Redemption 2. I got bored of Hold A to ride the horse. I just about got out of the Sanawi section that I think is the prologue. But I didn't invest the 100 odd hours into it. It's the same with the first Red Dead Redemption. I played a bit of that. Some lady was like, oh, help me do some cattle ranching. So you ride around on a horse and get the cattle. And I was like, oh, that was boring. And at the end she says, now help me get some more cattle. And I was like, oh, no. And I stopped playing that. I'm very fickle. So it would be in my interest if they would remaster both of them. If we could have some Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't know if you're supposed to play Red Dead Revolver to get a grip of the story. I never played Red Dead Revolver at all. Harry Potter didn't come out yet. No, they've already done a lot of gameplay at a State of Play for Harry Potter. So it will be a bit of a waste if they do it again. They probably will show it again, like they showed Deathloop at every State of Play for about a year. So we'll probably see a bit of Harry Potter, but I can't say I'm overly interested in it. Bloodborne 2. Bloodborne 2 with no Bloodborne upgrade, remaster, remake. What they should do, so I still think Sony have lost like the password to access the Bloodborne source files. And they don't tonight, yeah. Yeah, it's in like an hour. And it's only a State of Play, not a huge event, so it shouldn't be I'm not going to be live for it, by the way. I'll stop before then so everyone can go and watch it in their own time. Yeah, third-party content and PlayStation VR2 content, so not things like God of War. Yes, Isla, Stray is a game where you play as a cat in a cyberpunk world. You might like it. Well, let's find it. Stray game from Annapurna Interactive, I think. Just let that play there for you. A cat, yes, you play as a cat. There is the logo, it is a cat. Too busy playing old Battlefield games? I'm not co-streaming the PlayStation thing because I have to go and give my wife a lift from wherever she... You love it. You've only seen the logo of a cat and a street floor. Now there's an actual cat. Now you can love it. This is the character you play. It's a limping cat. No, it's fine now. Oh no, it's a platform game. I'm not touching it. Yeah, this isn't a game for me. Kill something. Explosions and guns. Come on, do some magic. Go live again after I caught her and reacted to the replay. No. I'm probably going to sleep after. Yeah, kill the robot. Oh. Here we go. Well done. No, okay. I'm glad you love cats, but that doesn't look like a particularly fun game to me. But anyway, it's likely to be a State of Play. PlayStation have marketing for it again. It's a PlayStation and PC game, I believe. Will Stray have screeching and catfight sections? It definitely will, if I have to play it. As soon as I get to one of the puzzles and it's like, oh, put this paint bucket into the fan to progress. you'll hear me screaming and cat fighting and hissing. Yeah, it's not about Stray. And then obviously, so we've got the third party stuff, which is probably what most people will be tuning in for, but then we've got the VR stuff for me. And I don't know how PlayStation show PlayStation VR2 content. Like, one of the things that's historically difficult about VR is that you can't really show people VR in a video effectively. And obviously I'm doing it all the time. I play Skyrim and it's great. What if Cat was VR? Well, then I'd have to play it. I could still screech and hiss. I don't hate animals. I hate puzzle games. You know, you know that. This game is a puzzle game. Platforming and puzzles. Look at that. Chance for combat. It's like all these weird glowy-eyed pig bug things. And the cat's just running past. Kill him! Press circle to escape fleas. Yeah, they're like Half-Life head crabs. Or ticks, I don't know. Never given you the impression that I don't hate animals. I don't know what to say to you there. That's fine. Yes, so showing off VR is like showing off 4K content over a 720p stream. It's worse, it's harder. Like, it's impossible to convey the scale and presence of having stuff all around you on a screen. And I do a lot of Skyrim streaming, and I'm like, my jaw drops when I approach, or when a dragon approaches me, and I'm like, holy fuck, this dragon is bigger than my house, and I've only got one arrow left, and I might have just pissed myself. And then I watch it back on the stream, and on a screen it's just like, it's nothing like it. But it's not just that, it's technically as well. The PlayStation VR2 has this foveated rendering that they talk about, where like, it's only rendering at a high quality a tiny part of the vision based on where the player is looking. And that's not going to make a good sharing experience. Like, it's great technology. The PlayStation can save loads of rendering power, and more importantly, it can save loads of bandwidth to send that signal to the headset. They're doing it wired, but I really do think they can do that wireless from the PlayStation 5, from the bandwidth that they've quoted. And the technology that's in there. But if you've got like a pinprick of high quality rendering and a blurry bit that the player's not looking at, and then you're trying to share that onto a screen and say, look how good this game looks, it doesn't look good to share like that. It's not supposed to. Which means they're going to have to bullshot it. Like, it's going to have to be faked. Like the original PlayStation VR and its breakout box, it didn't have the foveated rendering, but it did have like distortion around the edges. Like, putting a picture into a VR headset in front of your eyes is not as simple as taking it as it is on a screen and putting it that close to your face. It doesn't work. It's all like distorted around to fit the lenses and give you that peripheral vision and all the rest of it. So the breakout box on the PlayStation cancelled all of that out, cancelled out the fisheye effect and the barrel distortion, and put a version of it on TV so that you could record it, stream it, like share it with your family that are watching from the sofa. Batman VR was the watershed moment for you, descending into the Batcave. Yeah, so it's that kind of thing. You couldn't do that on a TV, right? You can't stand on that ledge and meet the penguin and show someone that on a TV and it to give them the same like impression as VR can give them. But PlayStation VR2, it's not rendering those details at the side. It's not supposed to. So for me, as someone that likes to create VR content, in theory, that's going to be a hurdle. And for Sony to share it as VR content, the only way I can see them doing it is to completely fake it and run a version of it on like a high-end PC that doesn't lower the quality of rendering around the player's vision. And they showed a little bit of, I should find it, they showed a little bit of Horizon Call of the Mountain a while back. Yeah. Just a teaser trailer, but let's just bring that up. And it just looks like a game. It doesn't look like a... Ah, you're not playing a game. Screw your stupid beard. Let's just skip forwards. I'm sorry, your beard's fine, but I wanted the gameplay. Here we go. So, like, it doesn't look bad at all. But to actually put this in a headset, if they were streaming this, if it was real, everything around the edges where the player's not looking would be a blurry mess. So they're going to fake it like this, and who knows what this is actually running on. But they've confirmed we're going to see more. We're going to see some actual gameplay from Call of the Mountain, so that's good. See if you can actually get out of that boat or not. I'm assuming that you can. And some other VR stuff. So presumably, hopefully, Half-Life Alyx. Someone mentioned Half-Life Alyx earlier, which I'm going to do a whole start again playthrough of, by the way, on my treadmill when I get time around all the Skyrim streams and stuff. That point of view is what it's like to want the looking up at the tall neck. Yeah, I am taller than you. I'll give you that much. But yeah, so that's in 45 minutes, and typically, and this is true for the Summer Game Fest and the Xbox One as well, I'm not likely to co-stream anything. Stuff that I do watch with Gaz. I always find on those things, personally, I like to actually take in what's happening, watch the trailers and hear the trailers, and when there are people talking, I like to hear what they say. I don't actually, they're quite often boring, but I don't like to have somebody talking over them because I can't hear multiple things at once. So co-streams are probably not a thing. Reactions and talking afterwards, absolutely, but it happens to be fairly late by the time the PlayStation 1 finishes, so I won't be talking about that until tomorrow. We'll go live on Saturday. Go. But anyway, is there anything else to go over for today, or am I deciding that 1 hour and 15 minutes is approximately the correct length for me talking about stuff? You watch the event solo each year and then watch the live streams back afterwards, like ILP. Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. A lot of people do co-stream at the same time. I don't want to step on everyone's toes, but can you yeah, Xbox or Sony stepping into AR, easier and cheaper to run than VR. Yeah, like I imagine at some point they'll converge and it'll be the same thing. And so what you really want is an augmented reality system that is capable of encompassing your field of view, because then you've got AR and VR depending on what fits. You like having stuff contextualized by me because you always feel like you don't understand everyone else. Wayne usually waits until the next day to watch it, as you like to watch it at 2 times speed. Oh wow, man, it was like little time. I have done a lot of, if I don't watch it live, I quite often watch it trailer by trailer rather than watching the live show. It's a weird thing that all of them, Sony and Microsoft and anybody else, they always put out such low quality when it's live, despite it being pre-recorded. So for like throughout COVID and all the rest of it, they haven't been live, these shows. They've been like pre-rendered, ready to go. And they use like a YouTube premiere or whatever. They push it out when they want to, and I don't understand why they do it at such low quality. Like, I'll do it for them. I'll give you a high quality stream if you want. Can put a video up that's like not 1080p 60 frames per second with terrible compression. It makes sense if they're actually doing it live, then it's forgivable because live stuff is different, but pre-prepared, good quality please. But no, they don't for some reason. Minecraft HoloLens, yeah. Game design gets complicated when you have to factor in like the user's home environment, and there are definitely like some opportunities for it, but the stuff that you see always seems to like devolve into walk around your house and something might jump out at you. But so for me, like VR is more enticing than AR because I've not seen any particularly good like AR applications yet, excluding ones that send you out in the world. So stuff like, much as I don't play it myself or care for it, Pokemon Go, conceptually, yeah, send people into the world, that's a good thing. Same for Minecraft Earth, like conceptually cool idea. That's augmented reality in a way, yeah, in a way that I would be interested in. But as a like home entertainment kind of thing, AR doesn't excite me as much as VR at the moment. I'm sure there'll be some exceptions, like some people will do clever things with it. And like the big advantage of a convergence between AR and VR would be being able to, obviously with AR you're still in the real world, so being able to jump into VR but also keep tabs on what's around you, like quite intuitively, would be nice. RIP Scalebound, yes. Scalebound again had that DMC character vibe, but also had all the colour that Sonic Frontiers needs packed into one game. Where was that yellow cow in real life that one time? That was at XO 19. Tech aside, we just need more games with good stories and gameplay. But yeah, VR definitely, like, it desperately needs games. And I say that as the biggest VR fan who doesn't need any games because I can play Skyrim forever. VR definitely needs games, which is why I get so pissed that Microsoft won't put Forza games on it. Hey, that's minimal effort. The cars are already modelled. It's a racing game, for fuck's sake. Put it in VR. But they haven't for Forza Horizon 4 or Forza Motorsport 7 or Forza Horizon 5. And at that point they're like, okay, now you're actively holding VR back by being dicks about it. And that means that when teams like the team that, I mean, Bethesda and ZeniMax released Doom 3 for the PlayStation VR after the acquisition because they'd already started it. They were still actively quite into VR, and obviously they have a history where John Carmack was with ZeniMax and Bethesda and pioneered a lot of VR technology before he went over to Oculus, now Meta and Facebook. Where he's still doing wonderful work. Quest 2 wireless from a PC is so impressive. When you think about Scalebound, you think of Genji on the PlayStation 3. Yeah, historically accurate giant enemy crab. Legendary stuff. I'm going to do, actually, now that you mentioned the PlayStation 3, there's so much interesting stuff about the PlayStation 3. I'm going to do a video about that. Like, that's a mad console. From the generation where Gears of War popularized the term batshit insane, PlayStation 3 was actually batshit insane. So that'll be fun to have a look at. I've even got some PlayStation 3 games coming. I don't have Little Big Planet coming. I figured if I need that, you've probably got it. Good Hades music. Hades is a good game. Need more good games like Hades. You have all three. You mean you don't have the adventure? Fake fan. You loved the PS3, it was your main console. You didn't move to Xbox until the Xbox One days. That's fair, and I say it's not about hating the PlayStation 3. Like, it had some games and stuff, but the hardware in that thing, I've got one down there in front of me. The hardware choices are wild. Like, there's a story behind everything in that console. So it's fun. It'll be fun to talk about. You want to play in the sandbox and make a castle. Like all the other fake fans. You got the full fat back compat version. I think, and I need to double check, but I think that's what I've got in front of me. I had the full fat back compat console myself, and it stopped working near the end of the generation. But the one that I got from my brother-in-law, actually, I think is also a full fat with PlayStation 2 hardware included. Haven't tested it, need to check. With all the talk about the PlayStation Plus reboot, how many of the 100 million users do you think want to play retro stuff? Not so many. Definitely not so many. It's weird that that's tied behind the premium tier. And it's weird that Sony act like they're being generous by saying that you can already play the ones that you've bought. Like, duh. Of course we can play the ones that we've bought. Wild. Weighs more than a dumbbell. You love it. See, I've got a console stack. It's at the moment it's sitting on top of an Xbox One X and underneath an Xbox One S. And then there's a monitor on top of that stack. I'm a mess. One day I'll do like a tour of this room that I'm sitting in. It's ridiculous. But I need to tidy it a bit first. It's cheaper to go into CEX, which is where I ordered my PlayStation 3 games from. Not going into it. Ugh, gross. Like, ugh. Imagine going into a shop. Weird. You'll be one as you've been going through all your old games. Yeah, like, so I find that I like the idea of going back and playing old games, but there's so like my backlog of things that I have never played. It makes sense that those should have priority. Games that I've never played should have priority over games that I have played before, with the exceptions of like a few really special ones like Shining Force 3 and Panzer Dragoon Saga that deserve to go back to. And then there's old games that I haven't played. I want to play Legend of Dragoon when that becomes available one day. But mostly I'll try and stick to newer stuff. Not new, but not going back too far in time. Because if I've already played it, I could be playing something else. Battlefield 2 MC something company. You mean Bad Company? BC, right? It's too bad to put the disc back in the case. How large is my backlog? 50 plus to 100. Wow, I've got more games than that I own and haven't played. My backlog is ridiculous. I'm old. I've got Steam rubs it in. If I open Steam sometimes, I'm not seen it for a little while actually, but it had it categorizes your games for you, and it had shut up, no clip in. It had a category for games you own that you've never launched, and it was a big category. To my shame, I don't know. I guess I use buying games to cheer myself up in the dark times. And it's impossible to get around to them. And that's if you forget the likes of Game Pass, where it's like, okay, there's another 400. I've got many hundreds of games on the backlog. No spreadsheet. We had, oh no, it's Alex was on Go Live, and he said that his way of handling games was he picks one game for each letter of the alphabet to like reduce it down, which is a ridiculous way of organizing things. But at the same time, I can appreciate it because sometimes you just need to whittle down the list by any stupid arbitrary metric, or you just don't play anything. So yeah, actually it helped me a lot when I was streaming a lot. I played a lot more games then, because then I don't know, it whittles it down and gives a little bit of purpose to get on with something. But I have so many games on the backlog, too many hundreds. I'm never going to get through them all. If they never released another game, I'd still have games to play for the rest of my life. And I will still be playing Skyrim for most of it. You tried to finish 40 games a year for the past 4, and you've still got 100 plus backlog. Yeah. And obviously, like, never get enough time, like the time that I want to sit and play games. I'd love to just have some days where I'm like, I've got 12 hours to go and play a game. And then it gets on my nerves a little bit when the games that I do play are like, oh, this is going to take you 50 hours to finish. I don't have really 50 hours. Give me a 6-hour game so I can move on to another one. But even Stu, you're just catching the tail end. I'm just finishing up now, but it's YouTube. It'll all be there. If you get really bored and lonely, you can go back and watch it. I'm sure there was some interesting chat throughout at some point, hopefully. Maybe I'll watch it back and see if it's worth doing another. Yeah. Unless you can get me talking more, I am quite bad at leaving when people say things. Quite bad at wrapping up. So if you are watching this on Spotify, you're definitely not. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you're also definitely not, because I'm not uploading this to Spotify. Said at the start, worth repeating, if you're listening on Spotify, crimes have been committed. Someone has stolen. Don't know why they would. Someone has stolen this and pushed it to Spotify. You want me to make it to 90 minutes? It is very close. It's only 4 away. I can, yeah. I mean, I could just leave the ending screen up for 4 minutes, and then it would be a nice even 90. Yeah. You completed over 40 games in 2022. That's not possible. That's not possible. You're like Randall Thor in it, like bursting through. 40 games and like 0 deaths. I've completed, what have I completed this year? I don't even know, because I can't keep track of time in that way. I find it really difficult to determine one year from the other. This music should sound an awful lot like Hades. This is the Hades OST playing in the background. So as weeks go on, assuming I do continue to do these on a Thursday, which is still the plan, I will mix up taverns that I'm sitting in and the OSTs in the background taken from various games. Do you 100% games? You're trying to get me into a long topic. I'm going to say no, though. I definitely don't. Nobody should 100% games. That's not true. People can play the way that they want to, and for some people it makes a lot of sense. And I understand like extracting value out of a game if you've got a limited supply of them for whatever reason. But for me, I've got a massive backlog. I don't need to be wandering down dark corridors trying to find every little secret, when I could be like playing through the good parts of a different game. So definitely not 100%ing anything on purpose. I think I have I've either got 0 or like 1 or 2 platinums on the PlayStation. I'd never 100% things, and if I've got a platinum, it's because it was handed to me for free for a Telltale game or something like that. I've never deliberately gone out to get one. And games that I've got all the achievement points on, so Xbox obviously doesn't like track it as nicely. I definitely got 1,000 achievement points on Call of Duty 2 on the Xbox 360. But apart from that, it would just be like any games that gave it to me for free without trying. Apart from that, no, I do not 100% things. I don't believe in it. Only person with more than you on your friends list is Rand. I don't know my achievement score. I used to, so when achievements were introduced, when the Xbox 360 came out, I was like it was a novel concept and quite a nice idea. So I cared for them a bit. Played some games specifically because I wanted achievement points. But as soon as I started playing other platforms more besides the 360, most notably the PC and MMORPGs that I loved at that time, it became apparent that achievement points were not worth it for me. They make a lot of sense for people that play on the one platform, but once you split your attention between loads, they're not worth it. And I'm happier playing without caring for them. So. Which is not to like disparage people like Rand that obviously do care about them and have put in considerable effort to getting lots of them. Like, if they're having fun with that, good for them. Finished 12 this year after burning out on Game Pass last year. No time to 100% on Xbox, but PlayStation Platinums are more appealing. They are more appealing because they're distinct. Like, Xbox doesn't care that you got 100% Platinum trophies, and the trophy system in general is a step up from achievements. I get why people would hunt a Platinum trophy and want to collect them up. It's just not for me. It's like I say, I could be playing the good parts of more games rather than the crap parts of a few games. Yes, Nier Automata OST could come next week if I remember, or I could do Doom 2016, or I could do some Final Fantasies, or there's a lot of games with good OSTs, but suggestions always welcome. You can remind me, Klonoa doesn't have an OST that anyone knows, or do you actually like the Klonoa music? I don't, obviously I've not played it and I don't know it. I know you like the games, but... Right, don't yell at me, I'm going. So, thank you everybody for watching. I'm getting yelled at now, so it is the end of this one-person stream show. I don't even know what to call this, but whatever it was, thanks for coming by. I hope it was something fun to do for the evening. Have a bit of a chat, and there should be, stop yelling at me, there should be another one at the same time next week. In the meantime, I'll be on the treadmill for some Skyrim tomorrow at 6 UK time, and on Go Live on Saturday. How do I end this? Have I got an end button? Let's see if this works. Yeah.